This is the end of the Cold War era. This is NATO versus Warsaw Pact for those that know about Eugen franchise, the Wargame franchise, that it's pretty good and pretty similar. And as well, we have the Warno. The Warno is as well in that era. Here we have real-time tactics called regiments. Regiments features regiments, brigades, and task forces from the Soviets, United Kingdom, USA, Poland, Belgium, and the fractured Germany of the time. To be more precise, 1989. Today I have here the demo, and we're going to go and have a look at this good war game. We're going to go through tutorials, and we're going to check the Regipedia here. Now this is developed by Bird's Eye Games. The game released its first DLC, Winds of Change, that features new units from the French, Dutch, Canadian, and Czechoslovakian armies. As you can see, this is the demo version. So before going into the tutorials, we are going to check here the Regipedia. In Regipedia, we have a lot of interesting articles that we can read. The most important one is here, the game mechanics. Unit types is basically going to show you the NATO icons, the NATO symbols that are used in the military for all the different branches. If you have any doubt, you can come here and have a look at what are those. There is another option. Let me go ahead and show you here in settings. This is a very useful option because in gameplay you can see show floating, always show unit names. This one, not this one, this one. Always show unit names, and you can say that you want to enable this. This is very, very useful and comes very handy if you are not, for example, familiar with the NATO symbols. In game mechanics, I would like to have a look at this, but basically you can read it yourself. Here we have game mechanics, we have vision. So evidently, if you are using this type of war game, you're going to understand that this is the Recon aspect of the game. So if you can be seen, you can be hit. If you can be hit, you can be killed. So this is line of sight rules that are going to play a big of a deal in the actual mechanics. Each unit has a maximum vision range. It's an idealized range at which the unit can spot a target with no stealth, which is located outside of cover and without any obstacles between them. Platoons in terrain like urban areas and forests are harder to spot, and some platoons like reconnaissance also have naturally better stealth. But the full effect of this bonus applies only when there is cover between the unit and the observer. Obviously, if you have a Recon unit, you're going to be more difficult to be spotted. Units can stick to the border of cover areas, and it will make them harder to spot while they can still see clearly. They can reverse deeper into the terrain to break the line of sight completely. Units on hills can spot targets slightly further out. Smoke from white phosphorus artillery missions is extremely thick. It completely blocks the loss. Weapons have different noise values. Firing them will gradually decrease stealth, making it possible to spot even a well-hidden unit. So it is telling us already that weapons have, the noise of the weapon is going to break the LOS. we have smoke, and we have recon units. That is something to take into account. If you have played, as I mentioned before, Wargame franchise from Eugen, you're going to know all of these. Keep in mind that even if the enemy is spotted, each of your units traces its own loss. If there is a hard block like a thick forest or a smoke cloud, it won't be able to engage the enemy. Now we're going to go to the aspect of identification. Spotting an enemy is just a first step. It's rarely possible to determine the type and the exact model of an enemy unit at maximum spotting distance. Initially, only a rough estimate of the context position is available, and accuracy suffers a 20% reduction against such targets. So, this means that when you have a contact, you're not going to be able. This is also implemented in combat mission. In combat mission, when you get your first recon and you get the contact, eventually, depending on the actual skill of the actual trooper, you're going to be able to identify the actual contact. In here, you have 20% reduction against targets that are not that are rough estimates of what the unit is. On approach or continuous observation, there it comes, this type of mechanic in terms of recognition. It becomes possible to determine the number and the class of the threats, and then the accuracy is 10% lower against partially identified targets. Targets are going to become fully identified, and the actual unit is going to know what is the other one. Such targets are possible to hit at no penalty. Having a recon unit close to the enemy avenue of advance is very beneficial. Not only will you become aware of the enemy movement, but your forces will be able to engage them more efficiently. We have here night vision. Night imposes additional challenges. The spotting is going to be reduced, identification happens much slower, and weapons accuracy degrades. Most units have at least basic night vision equipment because we are in 1989, of course, and this equipment which partially offsets those negative modifiers. The second generation night vision, this is going to be better, while thermal imaging cameras and ground surveillance radars remove the penalty almost completely. Using illumination tactical aid is another way to combat darkness. Artillery delivered flares will last for about 60 seconds, removing all night modifiers against targets in the illuminated area. So we have night modifiers, so night is going to work as fog of war. Now we go to cover and entrenchment. Cover, obviously forests and urban areas, doesn't only make the units harder to spot, they also make them harder to hit. An urban area provides a more significant bonus, but both are meaner by themselves. We all know this because there's a lot of games in this genre that uses these mechanic. Units that stay in place and out of combat will immediately begin to seek better positions. In several seconds, they will assume a hasty defense posture, which provides an additional bonus to protection, both against direct and indirect fire. If a mechanized unit stays in place for 30 seconds, infantry will dig in and become entrenched. This will improve their survivability immensely. Now, we have this thing, I have seen this because this is another thing that this is the first time that is going to be my first impression of the actual demo here. It's not that I have played this before. I have played Combat Mission, I have played Wargame, I have played those games, but not this one. It says that you are going to be dug in, and I have seen pictures of the actual unit being dug in. Several weapon types ignore cover bonuses, like incendiary rockets and cluster munitions. Firing from closer range or from flanks also partially ignores cover. Now, good to know that ignores the cover. That doesn't mean that the cover is not on those flanks. Now, suppression is natural human reaction to be afraid in the face of lethal danger, and incoming fire, even if it's ineffective, will suppress units. High stress make even the most experienced soldiers unable to do the basic operations that they can easily complete on the training range. That leads to reduced accuracy and a lower rate of fire. And this as well is a mechanic borrowed from combat mission. We have suppression here. Artillery is one of the most common sources of suppression, but various high rate of fire weapons like autocannons and helicopter rocket pods are also capable of quick suppressing a unit. Units will quickly regain combat effectiveness when out of combat. The presence of nearby HQ units and the rally tactical ability can reorganize platoons even in the middle of battle. So we are going to have as well an effect when HQ units are near the actual regiments. Then we have phasing. Phasing, all land platoons have frontal, side, and rear arcs. This is something as well very usual in these war games. The frontal arc is almost universally better protected. Even in light armor vehicles, cover bonuses are fully applied only in the frontal arc too. Shots from the side and rear are more likely to hit and will inflict more damage. Flank shots will ignore half of the cover, and rear shots will ignore cover completely. Armor rating defines the chance to ignore a hit, negating most of the damage. Armor piercing capability of a weapon shows how well it can penetrate armor. This is as well taken. There's other games that use this mechanic. Armor rating is defined separately for the front, turret, side, and rear of the vehicle. Each part of the vehicle is going to have different armor rating. Some vehicles have different ratings against kinetic rounds and high explosive, which is the HEAT, chemical energy rounds. When the AP equals armor, it shows that the round is borderline effective, having 33% chance to cause damage. When the AP is lower than the armor, the chance to penetrate diminishes, with the armor being completely impervious to hit at -3. Higher AP steadily increase the chance to up to 95% at +6. So we have a range -3 to +6. Most kinetic energy rounds are more effective when shots from closer distance. They gain 1 AP per each 400 meters below maximum range. So as armor concerns, it starts to get a little bit complex. Most heavy rounds will inflict a tiny amount of damage even when they bounce off. Not all projectiles deliver damage via direct impact. High explosive rounds affect the target by the blast wave and hundreds of small fragments. Armor reduces its effect, but never completely eliminates it. High caliber rounds like 152 and 155 millimeters and aircraft bombs retain effectiveness even against heavily armored tanks. A few weapons will always target the weak top armor of the targets, notably the cluster munitions, also known as DPICM, available to the tactical support artillery. Retreating and refitting. When the platoon is stuck in an unwinnable situation or is close to being destroyed, it's wiser to order it to retreat. The retreating unit will launch smoke grenades, if available, and reverse out of the combat with maximum speed, ignoring the enemy along the way. So that's a good way to understand that if you are pinned down, you can throw the smoke grenades and get out of the situation. When outside the map, the platoon will be fully replenished, repaired, and rearmed. A platoon that retreats will become available much faster than the one that was wiped out completely. Good to know. A successful retreat doesn't decrease platoon experience level, making timely retreats is an excellent way to retain veteran units. By fighting the enemy, units will gain experience. Without enough accumulated experience, they will advance to a new experience level. So we have as you go and as you increase the veterancy, you are going to increase the rate of fire, the accuracy, the suppression resistance, the infantry survivability, and cover effectiveness, which is pretty neat. Company. Okay. Company is a formation composed of several platoons fighting as a single element. They are typically present in lower quality regiments that don't have enough competent officers or communication equipment to maneuver with individual platoons. Companies concentrate a lot of firepower but can be very slow and rigid. Companies are commanded by issuing orders to the command platoon. Subordinate platoons will follow it and copy its behavior. but are impossible to control directly. If the command platoon is lost or begins to retreat, the whole company will retreat too. Companies share suppression status across all platoons and don't gain experience. Now, company, interesting mechanic here. You can bunch the platoons and make them fight as a single element, and everything that you do when you send the company an order, everything is going, the platoons that are beneath the hierarchy are going to follow. So that's something good in terms of micromanagement. Objective zones. Most games modes revolve around capturing or holding key objective zones. Understanding how they work is essential. An objective zone can be neutral or belong to one of two sides. To capture a zone, you need to clear the enemies from it and have at least a single allied unit inside it. After about half a minute, the zone will be captured. It does not say that you need an HQ or a command unit. It only says that you need at least to have a single allied unit inside it. You don't need to keep an allied unit inside a capture zone to hold it. And that is a difference in between Wargame. The zone will stay yours as long as no enemy units occupy it. Keep in mind that different unit types have different rates at which they capture objectives. Motorized, mechanized, and engineer platoons capture twice as fast as other units. Recon platoons are the slowest. Helicopters can capture the zones at all, so if you are not on the ground, you are not capturing the zone. And finally, we have mobility obstacles. In certain mission types, you may encounter pre-placed mobility obstacles or place them yourself. Obstacles prevent land vehicles from moving through until they are breached. I assume that these are going to be obstacles for tanks and stuff like that. Every platoon can breach these obstacles, but dismounted infantry, especially engineers, do it much faster. Look at this. Every platoon can breach those, but the engineers do it much faster. The suppression and unit count also affects the speed. So let's go, and with the Regipedia now being checked, we're going to go and start the tutorial. Let us begin with basic training. Okay, let's begin. Welcome to the basic training. Here you will learn the key camera. This is the usual thing, WSAD. Let's go ahead and do it. To rotate the camera, hold left control. You can do it like this, or you can click the middle mouse button, which is the one that I would prefer. Change the height of the camera by using the scroll wheel, and that's it. So here we have the Leopard 1A4. That's the option that I just show you that you can change on the settings in order for you to know which type of unit are you watching. So a platoon has been deployed. You will use multiple platoons to achieve your objectives in missions, but for now, let's try controlling a single one. Click on the platoon icon with the left mouse button to select it. Also notice the central panel. When a single platoon is selected, it will display information regarding the status and condition of the selected platoon. So what do we got here? We got a small description of the actual main battle tank Leopard 1A4. We have the name of the platoon over here. We have 4 vehicles, durability 100. We have information about suppression. We have main ammunition. And over here, we see something that is called hasty position, 115 for defense, accuracy 100, and speed 100 plus morale. Okay. Now, if we click here, we're going to see in the left corner of the screen an additional description of the actual unit. In here we see max speed 75 kilometers per hour. We see the front and turret armor, including side and rear armor. We also see here durability, main ammunition, vision, night vision, it says advanced, and stealth modifier 0. It tells us that the Leopard 1A4 has 105mm gun that has a 2,400 meters of actual range and AP of 13, and then we have the 7.62 millimeters of the machine guns, 1,200 meters, anti-air, and low altitude. Now let's go ahead. Before following the actual thing here, it says you can order the platoon to move by clicking on the desired position with the right mouse button, and it says that we should advance here. So that's what we're going to do, but before doing that, let's just do that and select the tanks and hit pause. I'm going to go in to zoom in and let's see the actual models here. Now over here we see the 1A4 Leopard Germany. Other options that we have here are speed, for example, in which we can reduce the speed. Let me pause here because we send the order to go there and they are turning. But something interesting here that I don't see on in the Wargame series, we don't have the possibility to decrease the velocity and even pause, as you can see. So we can go like this and we can go as up to 2, as you saw. Now over here we see the map. We see as well, here are the buttons. Here we see stop. You can tell the platoon of main battle tanks to stop. Let's do that. And the other thing that we can do is to fast move. We can fast move. We can reverse move. Fast move, I believe, is to send the actual order to go through here. Let's say if we want to do this, I'm going to send the order to go fast through here. So basically, the tanks ignored the actual road. If we do this in the Wargame franchise, if you select fast move, then the tanks are going to move through the road. In here, they are ignoring the road. So that's pretty interesting. Let's see again if we can simply send the order to move over here. Let's see if this thing, if the tanks are going to move. Yeah, and then we say stop. The other thing we can do is to do reverse move. Now, reverse move moves the actual unit, and the unit is always facing to the front. This is very, very useful because the tanks, as you may know, the tanks have the best armor in front of them, okay? So now let me go and show you something interesting in the Regipedia. In the Regipedia we have the units here, and if we expand the units, we're going to see the Warsaw Pact, which are Poland, East Germany, and the Soviets. And for the NATO we have United States, Belgium, United Kingdom, and West Germany. Because right now we are in the map with West Germany unit of the Leopard 1A1, if we click here, we're going to be shown a beautiful model of the actual tank. So as I was saying, most of the tanks are going to have the best armor in the front, and they are going to have less armor at the sides and pretty much nothing at the back. So what do we have here? We know that front armor is 8. The turret armor, which is the thing that is up in here, the head of the actual tank, that is 11. But side armor is the same in this model, is the same side armor and rear armor, as you can see. Now, we also have here the actual guns. You remember over here the actual specifications for the weapons. But if we go to the Regipedia, we can find the actual model here, and we're going to see more information about each weapon. For example, the 55% is the accuracy. It has stabilized 22. I would assume that stabilization has to do if you want to shoot as the tank moves. And then we have reaction 3 seconds, rate of fire 6.9 rounds per minute. Then we have the APF SDS, and then we have this damage suppression and penetration. Again, we have the frag HE, which will do a damage of 2.5 and a suppression of 25 meters. Again, the suppression of the machine gun is 197 rounds. The suppression of the machine gun is 1, the damage is 0.8, and the rate of fire is 197. So then we have here information about the date of introduction, 1974. Okay guys, now just to clarify something, I have bind the keys here in the fashion of, for example, Total War. If you want to do it, you can do it yourself and you can copy my key binds. For fast move I have R, for reverse move I have B, for attack I have F, for hold fire H, and rotate V and Z for stop. Let's go and send the tanks over there. They're going to turn, unless you do the actual reverse move. We're going to follow them. It's critical to master additional movement commands. To issue them, you can use keyboard hotkeys or the buttons on command panel, which is highlighted now. You can use the fast move. In this mode, platoon will try to avoid difficult terrain that will slow it down. You can use the rotate to rotate the platoon. Units will automatically try to face the most dangerous target. The rotate command allows you to direct the unit's rotation, which can be useful in certain complex situations. Now, rotate the platoon towards the target. We select the platoon, we hit V, and we rotate. You can use the reverse command to move the unit backward. It's useful to pull out of dangerous situations while keeping the stronger frontal armor pointed towards the enemy. Order a platoon to move reversed. A new platoon has arrived. You can select several units by pressing the left mouse button. That is to do that, square selection. You can unselect all the units by clicking on any open space on the map. Alternatively, hold Shift and click on the icons of the platoons you want to remove from the current selection. So let's say that we don't want the looks, and we click Shift, and we're going to change the actual selection. If you hold Shift, though, you're going to see the actual range, which is something that I'm going to add. And on a note, if I go zoom out, if I zoom out as far as I can, pay attention. You can hear the actual wind, and that is a beautiful detail. If you go as far as you can go into the tanks, you can actually hear the engines running of the actual tanks, and then if you select them, you can hear radio communications, for example, as you can see right now. You can hold right mouse button and drag to define where the platoon should face after arriving at designated position. By dragging the line further, you can also define the spacing between platoons. You can also hold shift to issue several orders in sequence. Okay, let's try that. Shift. Let's do this. You can as well hold the right mouse button and drag it to define where the platoon should face, as you can see here. Over here, let's have a look at this new addition to the actual roster. So now we have here what is called the Lux E01. This unit is reconnaissance, okay? This unit says here that they are to move fast, see further, and hide better than regular combat units. This guy has a max speed of 100 kilometers per hour, a front armor of 3. It doesn't have any turret armor, 2 at the side and 2 at the rear. The durability is 18 and has a vision of 2800. In comparison with the tanks instead, let me select the tanks. The tanks don't have so much of a vision, but as you can see, the night vision in comparison is thermal, and the tank night vision is advanced. Now, these guys have a stealth modifier because they are reconnaissance, and that means that they have 225 stealth modifier. They also have smoke grenades, and let's remember that if we want more information about the actual looks here, we have to go to the Regipedia. Up to this point, we know that they have an autocannon of 20 millimeters and a machine gun as well of 7.62. Let's have a look at this unit in the actual Regipedia. So here we have the look that was introduced in 1975. As you can see, this guy has a 20 millimeter autocannon that has an accuracy of 25%, stability of 15%. This means that it slightly can shoot while it moves, a reaction of 2 seconds, and a rate of fire of 147 rounds per minute. It has 2 types of ammunition: armor piercing and HE, high explosive. The 7.62 machine gun, actually I'm gonna try to see if we can find the machine gun. There you go. The machine gun is up in here. This is the so-called 7.62 machine gun. If we go to the Leopard 1A4, we can see that it has as well the same machine gun up in here. By dragging the line further, you can also define the spacing between platoons. Now, I was confused at the beginning because I thought you could change the actual formation by holding the right mouse button, so it doesn't change the facing in between actual individual units. But if I select both of them, I can change the actual spacing in between both platoons. As you can see here, let me zoom in a little bit, and as I drag, I can move them all the way back in here or make them go very, very tightly closed. So let's do that. Let's do hold shift and send the orders to move like this. Okay, so now let's do that and let's send them here to do a little bit of a round movement. There we go. So let's follow the looks, the reconnaissance combat vehicles. So in terms of the actual graphics, I can say that the game looks pretty awesome. So we are going to wait as they reach the position. There we go. We need to take these guys away from here. An ambush. Your platoon are desperately outgunned and won't be able to deal with the threat. Use retreat command or quickly press backspace twice to order your units to retreat. They will use smoke grenades for cover if available and reverse to the starting zone as fast as possible. I'm going to pause and let's have a look at what is happening here. We can see that we have lost, pretty sure that we have lost one. Hopefully we don't. So let's do the retreat. The retreat is this one. So we're going to send an order to retreat and then take the leopards and do, and then retreat. Let's see. Okay, so this is the smoke, and then we're going to pull back. Managed to pull one of these guys out. The fact that this smoke is here, this is definitely a situation in which the accuracy of these guys is now being affected. Okay, so now we are retreating to this area. Good. Let's see. Okay, they destroyed another main battle tank. So the retreat command is an excellent way to preserve your units. Surviving platoons will retain their experience level and become available for deployment much faster than the wipe out ones. The reinforcements have arrived. It's up to you to call them in. The regimental panel is highlighted. It shows all the platoons you have available, along with their price in deployment points. Deployment points will be explained in the next tutorials. For now, you have enough to call in your platoons. So we have different platoons here. For example, we have the Leopard 2A4. We have another Leopard platoon, a Marder A2 Panzer platoon, and the Jaguar 1 platoon. Let's proceed and click on the platoon icon with the left mouse button. Do this one, this is the cost, I believe. To select it, then click on the map to call in the platoon. Let's click on the map here. If you attack with your entire force at once, it should be enough to neutralize enemy forces with minimal losses. Okay, your platoons will automatically attack any enemy units in range, though some units may need to be stationary to fire. You can also issue an attack order by right mouse button clicking on a specific target. Your units will prioritize it and automatically approach to use their weapons. You can use attack F on a suspected position and your units will advance there, automatically stopping to engage the encountered enemy. It says advance and destroy 2 enemy platoons. We know that these guys have ambushed us in here. We know that we have 2 contacts here, as it was very well explained in the beginning with the mechanics, because we had the contact here and we see the symbol of platoon. We know that there's a platoon here, but we don't know what they are exactly. Over here, we see that we have placed here what is known as the Jaguar 1. These guys are tank destroyers. So, another important thing to take into account here is that they have 85 HEAT Hot 180 GM, which is 2,800 meters. That is the exact range of this unit. If I hold shift, you can see that we can clearly get in here. So we're going to hit F and attack this. Let's see what happens. They are going to get close into the position, and then when they spot the actual enemy, they are going to shoot. There we go. Those are the ATGMs, and they are right now trying to hit those tanks. The distance is 1,571 meters. We are in the actual range. These guys are our tank destroyers. They know that our enemy is now a T-72M1. So let's continue here shooting at them. We have, for example, in here a little bit more of cover. These guys are suppressed, as it says. Have we destroyed this guy? Yeah, we just need to destroy this one. And then we're going to take these guys. These are T-72M1. There we go. Now everything lies in between this guy and his ability to destroy those tanks, because they have already destroyed our 2 guys over here. Let's shoot at this one. Here we go, we're about to destroy it. He missed. We can press K. We can take out the actual user interface and have a more cinematic view like this. He's not doing good. And I don't want to move him. Okay, I don't want to move him. He's in a good spot. There we go. Now we gotta destroy the other one. Okay, we hit him. We gotta be patient here. He's in a good position. They cannot shoot me, but I am shooting them. There we go. Now it's a matter of time between that Jaguar and this Leopard. There you go. That's it. Ah, there's the other one. Careful, careful. Shoot it. Why you don't shoot? Something's wrong because he's not shooting. Okay. Now let's see. We can, well, actually we're going to manage this. Let's do this. We're going to attack this guy. It's impossible for him to be able to destroy us because this is 4 Leopards against 1 T-72. There we go. Okay, let's advance and capture the area. So this pretty much rounds up the basic training. There we go. We can also take these guys as well, and we can take these guys. These are more Leopards, and here we have Martyrs, which are infantry fighting vehicles. And another important thing about the infantry fighting vehicles, the IFVs, is that they have inside troops. So we can change mode with X, for example. We click X, and the troops are going to unload, as you can see. Pretty nice. So we can send them, for example, let's try the fast move if we want to send them here, let's say. Let's see if they are going to take, the troops are going to go inside. Let's see if they take the road. No, they are not. Pretty interesting. Oh, there they go. They are moving with the actual soldiers. That's good. Okay, let's go to advanced training. Apparently we're in the same exact place, but actually this place looks bigger. No, actually it's not. So welcome to advanced training. Here we'll examine mechanics of key unit types in a series of combat exercises. Modern warfare is defined by combined arms combat operations conducted by a mixed team of various combat and support units. Thus, understanding the strengths and vulnerabilities of each unit type is vital. Tanks and mechanized infantry form the backbone of most combat groups. So, we have now Leopard 2A4. It says here that armor platoons are composed of tanks. So it's telling us that this is an armor platoon. So this is going to be the symbol for the armor in the NATO. Modern main battle tanks, which are the MBTs, are one of the strongest units available. Their composite frontal armor is nearly impervious to any small caliber rounds and can shrug off hits from heavy weapons. They also have great medium-range firepower and can effectively use their weapons on the move. It's important to note that older tanks and MBTs that expose their vulnerable side armor are still very vulnerable to weapons, even outdated ones. Mechanized, now they are going to show us the Marder A2. The symbol of the NATO is this one. So these are mechanized platoons, which comprise the second half of your core force. This type represents personnel carriers with their infantry squads combined into a single platoon. These are infantry fighting vehicles. Their main strength is their flexibility and the infantry they carry. On the other hand, most personnel carriers don't have strong armor and are vulnerable when caught out of cover. If left idle and out of combat for enough time, mechanized infantry will entrench on their own. So now it's telling us that IFVs are going to entrench, or they are going to dig in if you leave them idle. You can use the change mode, which I have binded to the X, to change the infantry stance of mechanized platoons. Infantry can move mounted inside a transport or dismounted. Alternatively, you can use orders while holding Alt. The platoons will automatically change their mode upon arriving at the designed point. Use this to secure the designated area with infantry. So let's pause here because they just sent us to here. They decided to take away the MBTs. So let's go ahead and see the actual Marder. These are the infantry fighting vehicles. As you can see, these, as it says, they have the troops inside, and as you can see here, they have a max speed of 75 kilometers, a front armor of 4. They don't have turret armor. They have side armor of 3 and rear armor of 2. They have 20 millimeters autocannon. These are anti-air, low altitude, and the HEAT-20, the HEAT 20, the Milan 2 ATGM, which is this one over here. So let's see. We're going to send them over here. Let's see, if we hold Alt and we click here, we're going to go. I just pressed Alt, so we're going to see what is this thing about. So we're going to send them to the designated point. They're going to move through this area. This is an urban area. And now the troops are going to be unloaded. That is because I hold Alt and then clicked. Mounted movement is quicker over the open ground, that is for obvious reasons, but infantry can't use their weapons from inside the transport. Dismounted movement is slower, but allows to use the entire platoon arsenal. With the dismounted infantry providing more situational awareness, infantry transports can better utilize cover and become harder to hit. Your next objective is to take the designated farm. A group of modern T-80 tanks is occupying it, making a direct attack with your forces risky. Flanking, attacking from the sides or rear, is always a superior choice if the circumstances allow it. Vehicles are universally less armored on the sides and suffer more damage. We already discussed this before. They are much easier to hit too. Cover and entrenchments are far less effective against fire coming from the sides. Use the tree lines on either side of the objective to approach the farm. Dismount the infantry at close range so they can use their light anti-tank weapons against the tank's side armor. Okay, let's pause here. So we are supposed to go here and attack the actual T-80s with our infantry. So we need to advance here and we need to put the actual tanks ready to attack. Now let's have a look and let's give an interesting look about what we have here. So we're going to go to menu and Regipedia. We're going to go to West Germany and we're going to look at where is it, the Fuchs. Here we have it. This is the Fuchs. Okay, so what we got here, pretty nice. I love the fact that you can see this amazing miniature here. I like to imagine that this is a beautiful miniature. So here we have an infantry fighting vehicle that has smoke grenades and has a range of 1,200 meters with the 7.62 millimeters machine gun, which is this thing over here. And then we have the Leopard 2A4. I think it's the 2A4 if I'm not mistaken. 1A5. So the Leopard 1A5 is this one over here. And we have HE frag, and we have as well APF SDs and a machine gun in the upper part. Okay, so what we're going to do is to select this guy. We're going to send this guy through here. And then we're going to move through the trees. When we reach there, we're going to say hold fire. Then we're going to take the Fuchs, both of them, and we're going to send them here. Okay. Actually, I don't want these guys to attack as well, so I'm going to send the order to hold fire. You can see an X over here. These guys are very, very well trained. Okay, now the tanks are going to move through here. Okay, let me see where can I place them. If I place them here, then I would be able to attack. Okay, let's do reverse move. Move these guys over here. There we go. So we're going to do this and start moving these guys through here. So then we can flank. I want to move these guys here and cover. Take cover over here. These T-80 are very powerful. Okay, let's move these guys here. There we go. And we send an attack order here. Okay, attack. What happens here? Attack. There we go. That's a flanking attack. And we made it. Excellent. Flank attacks are always more effective than frontal ones, even against lightly armored units. Fine. Mobility obstacles are common on the battlefield, especially when one side had time to prepare defenses properly. Units cannot pass through enemy obstacles until they are breached. All line units can breach obstacles. Dismounted mechanized infantry can do it faster, but the engineers are most effective. So here we have combat engineers and engineering vehicles are specialized variants of infantry and tanks. They can clear the obstacles faster than any other type of unit. In addition, engineers are often armed with weapons that are especially effective against entrenched units. Breaching an obstacle is done automatically as long as the unit is in contact with the obstacle. Keep in mind that units are especially vulnerable while they are clearing an obstacle. Consider using smoke and suppressing fire on the enemy. Now use the engineers to breach the designated obstacles. So here we have a couple of engineers. Pretty nice unit indeed. So here we have the M728A1 CEV. This is engineer platoon. These guys are not so fast. They have a 165mm gun and 12.7mm machine gun. Let's have a look at this on the actual Regipedia. Oh, there you have it. This is an American one. So as you can see, over here we have the machine gun, and the 160mm gun is over here. So this is an American engineer platoon, and here we have the M113G armored personnel carrier. It has the actual troops there. It has 8 assault engineers and 4 Panzerfaust 44. Okay, so now let's see, we're going to send them here. Okay, they can move eventually. So we're going to send them here. Okay, basically we're going to click on the actual barbed wire, and then these guys are going to start working to get this obstacle out. There we go. So let's do it with this one. Yeah, they're working. And then this one. Reconnaissance platoons excel at finding the enemy and observing their movement. They have higher speed and improved spotting equipment compared to the regular units. They're much more adept at using cover to remain unseen too. Most reconnaissance vehicles are lightly armored and armed and are not fit for direct combat. It can be useful to restrict recon platoons to return fire by change fire mode, so they won't give away their position. Switch off the weapons on the recon platoon and advance to the designated area. So we're going to advance here and click the H button or the actual X again, so we can see that this unit is now holding fire. We're going to send these guys here to spot whatever they have to spot over here. So artillery, now we're going to deal with artillery. This is an M109G. So this artillery provides fire support, is identified with this symbol. It outranges other weapon systems and can shoot over obstacles. So this is what it's called, the indirect fire. Due to low accuracy and lack of armor-piercing abilities, it's most useful for suppressing targets rather than outright destroying them. Suppressed targets have reduced accuracy and rate of fire. Artillery requires a manual artillery attack. So we need to suppress this area because we have a contact here, and it says that we need to use a recon platoon to find the enemy around the designated area and order your artillery to suppress the target from afar. So basically what it's telling us is to use the looks. These are the guys that are going to use their binoculars to find this guy over there. There we are. So we have spotted over here BMPs from the Russians. So we have these BMPs. No, actually, these are German BMPs, as you can see. These guys have eventually anti-air, and they have as well Concours ATGM. The ATGM is very, very dangerous for tanks, as you can see. So we're going to use our artillery, which is located here, to suppress those guys. We are using the German M109G. This guy has a 155 millimeter artillery. We see this button here, which is an artillery attack. So we're going to select the area of the BMPs and see the beautiful situation. Let's bombard them. Here we go. Getting ready. So now we're suppressing these guys. Now we have the... Okay, it's going to tell us about the ammunition. Intense combat will consume ammunition. When the main ammunition pool is depleted, the platoon won't be able to use primary weapons. Keeping units supplied is thus extremely important. Here you can see a last 2 platoon. It's an MLRS rapid-fire rocket artillery that consumes ammunition in very high volumes. Currently, it's out of ammo. You can notice it by the red ammo icon on its platoon icon, or by selecting the platoon and inspecting its states in the platoon status panel. Let's go ahead and check that. This thing here, one of the most straightforward ways to resupply a unit is to retreat the platoon off map and call it back in after the delay. So by retreating the actual unit, we are resupplying it. It will arrive fully restocked with ammunition and all its unit restored. Though the whole maneuver takes a significant amount of time. A similar approach is to move the platoon back to the starting zone. There it will be resupplied to, but the lost units won't be restored unless we retreat them. Both of these options use the global supply points pool directly, which is located over here. Supply platoons allow much more expedient field resupply operations. When called on the map, they will load a certain amount of global resupply points to their internal storage. Then, if left stationary for some time, these platoons will display a circular supply radius. These are the trucks, the supply trucks that we know from Wargame. All idle units in this radius will be rearmed and repaired. It uses the same mechanic as the game that I'm making illusion of. As long as the supply platoon has supply points remaining, you can always see the remaining amount on the counter below the platoon icon. So now we're going to use the supply platoon to rearm the MLRS platoon. So we have over here the Lars 2, and we're going to need these guys because these guys are using artillery. They use artillery that is right now out of supply. So we're going to take the trucks. Here we see them. These are supply trucks that we're going to send over here. So let me click here. Okay, actually, I think we need to unload these guys. So it needs to be closer, apparently. There we go. Okay, supply platoons can significantly extend the time combat platoons remain effective on battlefield. They are completely unarmed and are very vulnerable to any damage, so keep them away from combat. A strong combined arms force is assembled for an attack against an entrenched enemy. An M577 command platoon is attached to the force. It's vulnerable and unarmed, but it provides better coordination for all units in its command radius, improving the accuracy, defense, and suppression resistance. You'll be attacking a sizable army force in an entrenched position and expect casualties. Use artillery to suppress the most dangerous targets. Pull the damaged platoons out of combat to resupply. Use retreat backspace if a platoon ends up in a critical situation. Coordinating a lot of units can be difficult. Use P to pause the orders, and you can also use control from 1 to 9 to assign currently selected platoons to a control group. Pressing the control numbers will select the group immediately. So we need to capture this area. Clear and occupy the designated area. Be prepared to repulse any counterattacks. So we're going to use, we have the supply here. We have here the M577GE. We have as well the artillery. I'm going to place the artillery over here. Let's take all of them if it's possible. Okay, so let me take first. Let me take the Lars here. We're going to send the Lukes, which is the reconnaissance. Do we have another Lukes here? Yeah, we have one. So I'm going to send more Lukes over here. I'm going to send Leopards with the Lukes. Let's take another Leopard here. Let's see if we can find something. Let's move them here. Okay, if we need to do... This is the thing they are going to dig in. Good. So we have the artillery here. These are the supply trucks. I'm going to place them here. And here we have as well... This is the command. Command stays there. So we don't know what is here. These Lars as well, they are MLRS, so multiple rocket launchers. This is good if we have them here, so I'm going to use this and move here very quietly, holding fire. Going to use this Lux as well to move through here. Let's remember that we have to hold fire if we are using the actual Recon. Okay, we have a contact here. We're going to stop this guy. Let me see. We have dig in. This looks like a BMP. Yeah, it is a BMP. We have here another contact. These are T-72. Now, T-72 is more dangerous for me, so we're going to stay here with this guy. I'm not going to to risk anything. Oh, actually, we see more BMPs here. This guy is going to stay here. So let's move these guys. Okay, let's... Supply stays here. These are the engineers. They stay there. These are the infantry fighting vehicles. They stay there. So we're going to use the artillery barrage against these guys here. And these Lars as well are going to be attacking this. There we go. Gonna bombard these tanks. Okay, hopefully we're going to do some harm. Okay, I think we are going to need to move these guys here. And move the Leopards here. Still use the Lars here. I want to suppress these guys, definitely. Here goes the barrage. And now I will attack the... Okay, I need to suppress those guys. I need to resupply here. And I need to suppress these guys. Let's use this one. We need a little bit of help here. There we go. Okay, I'm going to need to retreat a little bit here. Let's take these guys and we can start bombarding over here. Let's attack here. See if we can take the infantry and start advancing here. This is going to be enough, I think. There we go. Let's concentrate fire here. We have here this that we need to destroy. Okay. So now let's take the pioneers. Send them here. These are the infantry fighting vehicles. I'm going to place them here. We lost one tank here. No, we didn't. Okay, we're good. We're fine. Okay, let's send these guys here so perhaps we can see what is happening here. Let's send the Lux over here. Are we going to find something there? Who knows? Oh, we have more. Oh, there's a BMP here. Okay. This is a good idea to retreat. Okay, I'm going to need the this leopard here. Take these Lars. Hit these guys. Okay, go retreat, retreat. We'll need to suppress these guys. There we go. Okay, these guys are suppressed, and we're going to take this. Take these guys here. Let's capture with the leopards. Okay, we have an incoming guy here. We're going to need more leopards here. Where are the supply trucks? There. Okay, let's attack here. Let's attack here. We're going to need a little bit of suppression. We need... Okay, let's unload these guys. There we go. Okay, great work. The position is occupied and all attacks have been repulsed. This concludes the training exercise. Refer to the Regipedia to learn about more specialized unit types. Follow up for the next tutorial in the next video. This was Victus. See you in the next one.